G'day folks. Well, it's time for some more work on the Battenfeld injection moulding machine, or what's left of it. Not much is left of it, and I've been harvesting fittings off the hydraulic manifold, valve body, whatever you want to call it. I haven't removed the upper pilot valves or the transducers yet. I'll do that after the clamp unit's off. I've harvested all the hoses and pipes and things, these little bleed and spill lines, they're all out. There's a return to tank line that came in through there from the bottom of the valve body. Pump and motor's free, ready to come out, but I'm going to get the clamp unit off, then the injection unit, then the pump and motor. It should be right. And then get the suck drum going and just suck all the oil and material granules and other crap out of the drain pan there, spill pan, as well as take the pan off and actually clean out the tank so there's no oil to spill when it gets shredded. Not that there's a problem with a small amount of oil, it's just it's easier to load and safer. I don't have the issue of air blowing through part of the system and just blowing oil out everywhere, especially since I want to take the water to oil heat exchanger off along with the sight gauge and that sort of thing. I don't want to be driving down the road with 70 km/h airflow blowing through it and just blowing oil out the back of it all over, well, my trailer and cars. Doesn't look good. I've had that happen before, it's not fun. Actually, I think it was diesel. It was diesel on the old Yanmar marine engine. The fuel tank was ripped open and there was still about 2 litres of diesel in it. And when I got home, the whole back of the trailer was just covered in diesel. And obviously anyone behind me was copying it as well. So yeah, we've got to be somewhat environmentally conscious. Not that oil's that bad for the environment, it just takes a while to break down. So yeah, the manifold is going to probably stay there. I'll just take the other bits off it because there really isn't much to these manifolds. It's just a series of little sliding valves, and these pilots just push fluid one side or the other, so it's just a push-pull pilot valve assembly. But I will really want to harvest it for all the plugs, the fittings, there's service port pressure testing fittings, as well as the line outputs, which I've grabbed pretty much all of. There's a couple of pressure transducers and the pilots themselves, and I'll take them off and just leave the valve body hanging there. I think there's not an awful lot to it, just one big lump of steel. It'd make a nice doorstop, that's about it. I've already got a doorstop, it's called a flight recorder. Anyway, let's detach the injection unit and start lifting the clamp unit up and out of the chassis. I have to remove these caps, slide the injection unit back. I have gotten the nozzle free, I did that the other night. Brought the heater band up to about 180 degrees on 90 volts AC, and that worked alright. And then cracked it free. It was very tight, made a hell of a bang when it broke free, but it did break free. So I can turn this assembly into a micro extruder. This is going to come off, they're just solid cast iron braces for the clamping of the injection unit. That's irrelevant. So I'm going to just basically unbolt them here and make my own frame, so I've got my own little micro extruder. I'm not going to strip this unit down. I might put an AC 3-phase motor and VFD on it instead of the hydraulic, but it's not going to be an injection moulding injection unit anymore. I'm going to try and turn it into a micro extruder, which will be a lot of fun. Otherwise, yeah, take this off, strip it down, get this plate out. I want this steel plate as a table. The rest of it, well, I just drain the oil out and it can go in the scrap bin. I don't have the space for a giant ram assembly, nor the time to really set it up. I want to get my turbojet project running. Anyway, let's start moving stuff and removing stuff. Yeah, another thing to note is that this stuff is very heavy, and I strongly suggest, well, don't shortcut things if you try this sort of thing at home. If you've made a gantry, use it. Don't try and lift sort of heavy stuff like this on your own. These single columns or supports, whatever you want to call them, probably weigh about 80 to 100 pounds each. 50 to 60 kilos, and it's going to be lifting equipment and slings all the way. So I've got a nice 2-ton poly sling there and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, don't mess around when it comes to heavy equipment. Don't do your back in trying to lift components of it, because even this platen here probably weighs, I don't know, 200 pounds, something like that. I don't have a set of scales to actually measure things, which I wish I did. I do want a set of crane scales, but I'll have to hunt around on eBay or somewhere like that. Then I'll be able to tell you for sure what this stuff weighs, but I can guarantee there's probably still 750 kilos, if not more, just in this unit alone. It weighs probably, I don't know, half as much as little blue there. I think blue weighs about 1.6 tonne, and the silver one, Betty, I think she weighs about 1.2 tonne. Still fairly heavy. You're dealing with the weight of a car in a small little package like this. Originally it was 1.68 tonne or something like that, almost 1.7 tonne, with the oil and dye and everything in there. So with the control cabinet and everything off, I'd say about 800 kilos, 1600 pounds or so. Still pretty heavy. Alright, well, the clamp unit is going to come off and flip forwards. Eventually I'll try and lay it down flat on the ground with the ram fluid input and output ports on the top, and then suck out as much fluid as I can with the drum. Yeah, that's about it. I just got to take this safety bar off because it's stopping the whole thing from falling forward. Take that screw out. I've already taken that one out, but the whole thing's so well built it's going to be a bit of a pain, so I'll take the bar itself off, take these screws out and drive it off its dowel pins. Apart from that, it's holding it. As you can see, we've got a nice solid steel platen, 1 inch thick, 25.4 mil or so. Really nice. So I've got to loosen these off completely or spin them off, drive this platen completely off, and then I'll be able to drag this off. I've got one cap screw in there holding the whole thing together, but I've got a brand new driver. I've got 2 new drivers for them. These ones, it's about $30 worth, but that's a 17 and that's a 14. Money well spent. Yeah, that's under tension now. That's taking the full load of those rams. So we'll leave him in there and lift the rest off. And of course, you got to listen to something like Combi Christ or Fear Factory or Fine Flug when you're tearing apart a machine like this. You've got to play some industrial metal or heavy metal, or yeah, just industrial in general. Awesome stuff. Really awesome. Ah, look at that, perfect. Just swung straight out, not a problem. I'll get to the other bolts for the ejector ram. Yeah, spin these fittings out, those. Some nice cap screws all over the place. There's big 14mm ones at the bottom. The way the rams are set up, the way the valving's set up, it's fairly tricky to try and get it to work as a manual press, at least not without some serious valving. And yeah, not really worth it at the moment. It's an awesome clamp setup though. It would be nice to make it work as a press. I just don't really see how at the moment. I don't have the room. But there's plenty of injection moulding machines around going to scrap, so I can get another one anytime I want, really. There's one sitting in a hook bin at the scrapyard at the moment. It's a 110 ton clamp force angle horizontal injection moulder, but the thing weighs about 8.5 tons, so it's not really on my to buy list. It's actually a machine that I did part of my apprenticeship on. It's come from my local injection moulding shop. Bit of a shame to see it go. I really like that machine, as slow and clunky as it was. The old 1970s, 1980s Engel injection moulders are pretty cool. The electric motor on it's the size of this injection unit. Just for the hydraulic pump, it's a big ass 3-phase motor. But I don't know, all the time I was running it, it sounded like one of the bearings was going to eat itself. I'm guessing that's what happened, or very similar. Mind you, the thing was slow as crap when it was cold, so I can't blame him for getting rid of it. That machine needed a lot of love and care, and no one really wanted to give it. Anyway, let's keep breaking this down.